the perfect setup this morning. So your first line, Jules' first line, about if there's one thing I could tell the world is that we're all okay. Anybody struggle with not feeling okay? Anybody willing to admit they struggle with not feeling okay? I think it's part of the human experience because we're set up with comparisons and judgments and competitions, and sometimes we end up feeling less than, or that somehow we're not okay, or that we are broken. The song was perfect to get us going, and so was Carol's reading, because within that it was talking about learning. And the perfect part that he read us 3 times is that as we're learning, even if we don't get it right at that particular point, we learn what we don't want to do next time. That's the way most humans learn. You know, I often tell my dance students this. My dance students who say that, well, they can't do a particular move or a particular step. And some of them have heard this many times, and some of them I'm telling them for the very first time. I said, listen, do you remember being a baby? Or do any of you have any baby brothers or sisters? So most of them do, because I teach kids that are like, 9 to 11 years old mostly. And they've got little brothers or sisters. I said, okay, the first time you saw them stand up, what happened? They fell down. And the little kids, oh, they fell down on their butt. Yes, okay, they did. Double reason for diapers, right? I said, so can you imagine if your little brother or sister, or you, said, oh, well, I guess I can't do this thing called walking. And then you gave up. I said, you would not only be not dancing, but you would still be crawling around. The kids get that so quickly. They really get it, You can do this step. Right now it's a little challenging. Right now it may not sound the way it sounds when I do it. Right now it may feel hard. And right now it may feel like you're just totally messing it up altogether. But you will. You just keep trying. You get it, like a baby does, you get to the edge of the table or the chair and you try again and you go, boop! And then you start again and how many times does a baby fall down until they finally master this thing called gravity and learning how to walk? And that's just exactly what we do. And I'm very big on the fact that we are all learning all the time. There is no final place. So with that, week after week after week, I talk to you, and I tell you things that I understand, and things that I've learned, and things that I read, and things that I know. It's your turn today. Every 5th Sunday, I try to do something just a little different. I either have people tell me their stories, or I ask you to ask questions, or we just mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to ask you, who might have some questions for me, to just go ahead and spit them out there. There is no dumb questions because we're all learning, right? So let me just put a little parameter around it, though. This is not a time to ask me, like, personal questions. This is a time to ask about the teaching. Because I know you guys have some creative minds, and you come up always with juicy questions, but it's about the philosophy, about the teaching. Maybe there's something you took a class, and maybe there's something that you still aren't quite clear on. It confuses you when you hear it. Or maybe you're new here and you go, hey, I don't know about that thing at all. Or something that you get it when you come to church on Sunday, and you go out in the world and you go, okay, I lost it again. Just questions that have to do with the philosophy. I may not be able to get to everybody, or I might. So let me just say this. Anybody have a question for me? my musicians have the first 2 questions. that could be scary. Okay, Andrea, go for it. Okay. So, the whole thing about confidence and trusting, that's my part. Okay.
Is there a divine plan?
A divine plan. So is your question very specifically about the word plan?
I feel like sometimes we want certain things and we want things to go a certain way in our lives. Sometimes mine says create your life. And sometimes it doesn't go like you think it should go or you want it to go. Right? So is there a divine plan that we are trying to know about or we don't know about?
Okay, I think I understand. And as we go along, if you want to ask another clarifying question, you can. So she's asking, is there a divine plan? So I can answer it from the teaching point of view and a little bit of my point of view. So the bigger answer would be no. Because a divine plan, as I understand it, or as that is taught by many different religions, is that there's a God outside of us who has some preordained idea. And we don't believe in that. So there can't be a plan in that way. Like you and me plan, we make plans. Step 1 is this, step 2 is this, and this is how it's going to unfold. We don't believe in such a power. Divine pattern is a better way to understand it. Is there a divine pattern? That we believe. So Ernest Holmes says over and over that pattern must be goodness. Meaning it can't be badness, it can't be evil, it can't be something that will destroy itself. So the plan is towards goodness, or excuse me, the pattern is towards goodness. The pattern is towards creativity. The pattern is towards love. The pattern is intelligence. So there's a divine pattern. Just like a good seamstress, you can alter the pattern. Right? So the pattern might have all the pieces perfectly available. Anybody here sew? Or at least know a little bit about it? Because you can buy patterns. And the patterns then allow you to make adjustments. So we say there's a divine pattern, but not a divine plan as if there's some higher power going, Andrea, this is the way it must be for you. We don't believe in that kind of a God, because then we wouldn't have freedom. And we're, as you know, very big on freedom. So the divine pattern also has said that you have the exact same abilities. You are created in goodness. You are created in love. You are created in intelligence. The pattern within you means now you have to choose what to do with the pattern. Does that help?
Yeah.
To me, the idea of a seamstress with pattern, because I sew, and I know how you can create the pattern differently. You can use the pattern as is, or you can alter it. You can alter size, you can add the skirt or not add the skirt. You can add an extra ruffle, or you can put the sleeves, whatever. You then have the choice to co-create. So for me, that always makes more sense. There's a divine pattern, but not a plan. It's just a little difference in understanding. Plan is it has to happen that way. Pattern is, this is the general idea, now you get to play with it. Does that help? Okay, good. Good. Ross.
All right. So,
All right. When Ross asks questions, I should be scared. I miss them. Not just because of Ross, but...
all right. So, one of the things that has always...
Is that a beer you're drinking?
No.
Okay.
So not
Look like a beer can. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
So one of the things about this movement that has always attracted me and made me feel like I'm in the right room, being here through the years, is it's not always emphasized a lot, but it definitely is part of the teaching, that just a general, we take more responsibility. We're taught to take responsibility for our own lives, especially compared to some other teachings that some of us might have been brought up with, which we won't mention. Do you have any tips or any inherited wisdom from the founders of this movement about how to slice that fine line between taking responsibility and beating ourselves up?
Oh, that's what I talk about all the time, so... Yeah, so can you put the question in like a succinct, I mean, I get what you're saying, but what is it in that you really want to know? You do want the tips.
I want to feel free to examine my life and my own actions without so quickly falling into just, yes.
Self-judgment.
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me first, in case you're new here, this philosophy does put a whole lot of emphasis on self-responsibility. Okay, we don't get to, this is when Ross mentioned the religion we might have grown up in. We don't get to say, okay, I can screw up all over the place, and as long as I accept that dude over there as my savior, I'm going to be all right. Well, we don't have that. Because we don't believe we need a savior. So then if we don't have that, then those screw-ups, those mistakes that Carol was talking about, we'll clean up my language, those mistakes and those growing places then come back to us, and what do we want to do about them? And it really kind of comes back to the pattern question. So I can actually use my answer to you to answer yours. So if I'm sewing and I use that pattern, I am responsible to choose what I want to do with that pattern. But if I come out